All right, so we're diving deep today. Ready?
Always ready to dive in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We're taking on below the surface, those lyrics, and trust me, there's a lot more to uncover than just a catchy melody.
Oh, yeah. Definitely more than meets the ear, that's for sure.
Right from the start, you get this feeling of layers, hidden depths, like there's a whole other world going on beneath what we see every day. Roots run deep, though unseen right now.
Yeah, and invisible lines in a world overwrought, that line really sets the tone, doesn't it? Like a
Yeah.
secret code we gotta crack.
Exactly. It's almost like a commentary on, well, society as a whole. What do you think those roots and lines actually stand for in a bigger sense?
I think it's a really clever way to show how complicated society really is, Like, think about social levels, how some people have more power, wealth, or status, and those invisible lines could be the boundaries between those levels. They're not always obvious, but they affect people's lives in a huge way.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when you look at those lines about feeling like parasites stuck in a system that's broken. It's like the people thinking, the we, they're fighting within that system, right?
Yeah.
But then there's that mention of a silent elite later in the rap part. Where do they fit into all of this?
Ooh, the silent elite. And now that's where it gets really interesting. Could be interpreted in different ways. On one hand, it could be a literal group, like some powerful, wealthy people behind the scenes controlling things, but nobody really sees them.
Right, that classic idea of secret societies, conspiracies, the stuff people love to talk about.
Exactly. Always gets the imagination going. But it could also be something more abstract, you
hmm
know? Maybe those unwritten rules, those expectations that kind of control us without us even realizing it. The pressure to fit in, even when we don't agree.
So those expectations become the elite that kind of rule over our choices, right?
Right. And then the lyrics bring in the ones in power. Feels like a call to action, almost a rebellion brewing.
Definitely that rebellious energy. Lines like, every tower falls, no matter how high, feels historical, doesn't it? Like it's hinting at some kind of revolution, like it's bound to happen.
Yeah, I can see that. Throughout history, so many examples of people rising up, changing those power structures, overthrowing them completely. The lyrics are like a reminder that no power lasts forever. It's a theme that's been around for centuries.
It's cool how the song takes these huge historical themes and mixes them with feelings that are really personal, like that metaphor of the house of glass. What's your take on that?
Such a powerful image, right? It's like a perfect picture of how fragile and fake society can be when everyone's worried about how things look, faking smiles, hiding the darker side. It's all about putting on a show, even though the system itself is so shaky.
So they have to play along, even if it feels phony.
Exactly. And that connects to those contrasting images, the basement versus the open skies in the lyrics. Being stuck in the basement is that feeling of being trapped by society, while the open skies represent the longing for freedom to be yourself.
It makes me think about all those times I felt like I had to fit in, be someone I wasn't. It's wild how music can capture those feelings so perfectly,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. It's that basic human need to become who you're meant to be, to reach your full potential, be authentic. The song suggests that this need gets crushed by the pressure to conform, to stay below the surface.
So, wrapping up our deep dive into Below the Surface, what's the one thing our listeners should remember? The big takeaway.
I think the most powerful message is that power always changes. The song reminds us that it's never permanent, always shifting hands. It's a warning about how power corrupts and how things are always in motion, always changing.
It makes us question our own role in these systems, right? Are we the silent elite, stuck in the basement, looking up at those open skies, putting on a fake smile in that house of glass?
Those are the questions we got to ask ourselves. And maybe the biggest lesson from all this is to notice those invisible lines in our own lives. What unwritten rules are shaping the choices we make? Who benefits when we play along? Are we being true to ourselves? The answers? Well, they might surprise you.
A lot to think about, for sure.
Definitely.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure.
And for everyone listening, keep questioning, keep exploring, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.
Until then.